Hey guys, well today we're going to be reviewing a newer light from Spark. Spark is a somewhat new company, and the next few flashlight reviews I do are going to have a similar theme. They're all going to be able to run off of AA batteries. Now I realize that's actually good news from a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys don't care for the specialty batteries or the high-end lithium cells. You guys want the normal AA batteries. They're easier to get. Many of you know my old standby EDC is the PD20. Runs off of CR123s. These are anywhere from $1 to $2 a piece, depending on how you buy them. They're also harder to get in smaller towns. I didn't have an issue in Seattle, but they're a little bit trickier and more expensive to get in a small town. I understand that. I still love the really deep cup reflector on here that gives me a really good throw. It still is very firm tail switch, so I don't have it coming on in my pocket, and overall still one of my favorite lights. But today we're going to be talking about the SL5. This is the SL5 190. They do have a version of this light that has an older LED in it. It's not quite as bright. The 190 NW is neutral white, and just get a little bit of foam, a little bit of card telling you the different modes. There is a minimum mode, a medium 1, a medium 2, a maximum, and a super. Obviously you're not going to be able to read this with this camera. I will try to put this information down below. With neutral white lights, they're not quite as bright. A little bit of lumen loss for that neutral output, but they don't have that bluish tint to them. So a couple reasons I went with this light. It can augment some of my photography lamps essentially without having to add like a tint to it, and I'll try to demonstrate that. I'm going to put two links down below. One of them is to the CandlePower forums, which is essentially a flashlight headlamp forum for anything that has to do with lights. There's a gentleman there who has a really good review on essentially this exact same light, only in their headlamp version. The headlamp version is a little bit shorter. Picture this reflector in a T fashion right there, and you basically got their headlamp, but he goes into all the technical aspects of battery usage and everything else. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll leave a link down below for all the technical specs, what different batteries, how long they ran, all the really technical stuff. Some of you guys aren't interested in that, so I'm not going to go into my review. The other link I'm going to leave down below is for the Going Prepared, which is Marshall from Goinggear.com. I generally get a lot of my fire steels from him, a lot of his flashlights. The reason is he does free shipping over $50, and he's always had quick service, and his flashlight I guess listings are extensive. He likes his flashlights, and he recently started carrying Spark, so I bought this one from him. The first one I bought was directly from Spark. On that CandlePower forums, you're able to buy things directly from some manufacturing people, and I'll have some of that in some other light reviews coming up that you wouldn't be able to buy anywhere else other than directly from the company. But this review is for the Spark SL5 190 NW, and first thing you'll notice is there is a thumb switch here, so you can turn the light on very comfortably like a mag light. There is a tail switch as well. You can hear that one is a clicky switch, so you get sort of the same click that most people are familiar with. The side here is not a click, it's a digital switch, so it's a lot quieter. Again, I'll put the modes down below. The interface on this is very similar to zebra lights, if anyone's familiar with that. If I push and hold, it's going to just rotate through all the different modes, and then if I stop, that's the mode it's on. As I said, this carries AA's, or utilizes AA's. But is also able to use, this is the lithium cell, just like some of the fancier flashlights I've shown you. It's called a 1450. It's basically the 14500 is the exact battery number. It's just like a AA. a little bit higher voltage, and is rechargeable. Much more better than bad English. It's much better than the like N loops or any other nickel metal hydride. It's able to carry a little bit more power into it. Because of that, this flashlight is a little bit unique. Most flashlights that use AA's or regular cells, or standard rechargeables, I should say, like the nickel metal hydride, will not accept the higher end lithium cells. It's just too much voltage for the emitter circuits. These guys did a fantastic job, and you're able to use both. It's designed to use that way. It's not that I'm using it and it's not designed like some of the other ones. Some of you guys follow Nut Fancy. He was putting high-end lithium cells in his 4.7's light when it was not technically recommended, although it did hold up. This one is designed to do so. There's also another neat feature that if I'm running standard alkaline batteries or the nickel metal hydride, this has a 3-minute memory. So when I turn this back on, this goes back onto the same level of light that it did, and it will remember that for 3 minutes. If I'm using these the higher end lithium cells, I just call them the 1450s, it's basically, it will always remember that. So you had the 4 modes, and if I double click, you go to super mode, and if I turn it off and I come back, it's still at super mode, and it remembers that. The anodizing on this is very light, thin. Some people wanted a thicker one. I really like the way it looks. I like the slight gunmetal finish that it has. The emitter head, you can see in there, and I do apologize, we broke my little magnifying glass, so I can't give you any close-ups. The head on here is pretty deep, but the emitter is so big that it literally is a very floody beam. It's not a very concentrated hotspot. And what I will do, the neat thing that they do, the Spark guys, in here is a frosted lens along with the O-rings, and I'm able to unscrew this tip, take out the clear one, and put the frosted in if I really want that up close dispersed light. The link I'm going to leave for the CandlePower forums, he goes into the different beam shots with that. This camera that I have really isn't able to do that very well, and when other people do it better than I did, I might as well just leave a link down below than wasting your time trying to show you. What I will do real quick is I'm going to kill the overhead light, and I'll kind of show you the difference between the two. There's a size difference immediately. You can see the XML head and the AA battery makes this a little bit bigger light. It literally, the PD20 comes down to where the tail cap starts. I'm not a huge fan of the clips. As I mentioned, I lost one before. They get loose and it only comes around halfway. So basically, as you can see there, it just sort of friction fits on there. It is nice because I can reverse that and put it up here, and that way you can put it on the bill of your hat if that's how you wish to carry it. But I really have, it's just too easy to take off. There is the Eagle Attack light I will do later. I think that's the only way to really do a clip, is have it removable. Have pocket clips completely still in a full circle, and make it so you have to take a tail cap off in order to get that ring off. I think that's the only way to do pocket clips for flashlights. They're just too easy to take off. I don't know if that contributed to me losing mine, but it certainly doesn't help. So I'm not a big fan of the pocket clip like that. Let me kill the lights and we'll be back. Alright, got a little bit of light coming through the window so you can still kind of see. What I'm going to do is see if I can. Here is the bluish light of the Phoenix, and here's the neutral white. You'll see it's a much more natural white light. Again, with that, you'll also see how sharp that hot spot is, focused, and this one isn't. This LED is quite a bit bigger, and so it basically puts out a floody beam. With that dispersion or diffusion lens on there, it really opens it up more, but I think you lose more lumens, and this is already a pretty floody light, so I haven't put that on there, although I do like diffusers. I feel that the way they have this set up, it's diffused enough, it's really handy. But that gives you an idea of how hot spot this is. So this throws a little bit more still. This still has plenty of light and runs off AA, so it's a neat little light. Let me turn the light back on. So for carrying it on sort of a daily basis, I have really enjoyed it. There is one thing you need to do, especially with the dual setup on switches, with this digital switch up here. One, if you leave it on super mode, it will get very hot. And because I use those lithium cells, it remembers super mode. So you can either kick it down to low, which is a very low, as you can see on there. There's medium to high. Which I like. Their low is a very low, especially when you're using it out in a wilderness setting. You don't need a lot of light. This thing on low is almost just too bright. Still, this offers a nice low setting that is perfect for reading, looking around the tent without, blinding yourself. A couple issues I have had with their digital switch is if I have it in super mode, and even if you are running your regular cells and it tries to kick on low, if you left it off in super mode, you'll get this flash. Basically it looks like a flash and then it kicks down to low, and that's sort of annoying when you're out at night. I have not had that issue since I switched over to the lithium cells, the high-end cells. And the other thing is, if you're going to carry it in your pocket, you really have to do a quarter turn on the tail cap so that this switch is deactivated, so that it does not accidentally come on in your pocket, which I have had happen quite a bit. People are asking why my pocket is glowing. And so even with that quarter turn, the back one will come on, but it's just momentary. It won't stay on. And then just a quick quarter turn and you've got your light back. Another curious thing, you'll actually know the battery's good when you screw it back on with a new battery. You'll see it flash. Well, usually. Let's see if it does it here. Well, it made me a liar, but it usually flashes real quick when I put a new light on. Very neat light, not super cheap. This was, I think, $70 some. Another reason I get it from Goinggear.com, not only with the free shipping, but generally you get put on his list and sort of the email list, and he sends you basically a 10% off coupon on a regular basis. So you get 10% off plus free shipping. So highly recommended. Haven't had any issues other than losing it with that pocket clip. The quarter turn for the digital switch, and recommend getting some 1450s, 14500 lithiums with it, which are just phenomenal. Other than that, very cool light, and still will outshine any mag light you got. A little bit bigger than the PD20, but it's a little bit more versatile with the battery usage and stuff. So I also like that neutral white LED. It's just a nicer color. It's nicer on the eyes. It really gives true colors for outdoor shots, and you'll see that if you go watch Marshall's his backyard setting. I would do it as part of my review, but I just don't feel this camera does anything justice when I do low light. So go check it out, and check out spark lights either through CandlePower forums or there's also SBC flashlights, and I'll leave links below, and of course Goinggear.com. He's a flashaholic like so many of us are, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much.